Hello students, you're welcome to our online lesson. The lesson title is Independent Project. The learning objectives of the lesson are: use imagination to express thoughts, ideas, experiences, and feelings. Understand specific information and detail in extended text on a range of familiar, general, and curricular topics, and some unfamiliar topics. Write coherently at text level using a variety of connectors on a range of familiar, general, and curricular topics. Оқушылар, бүгінгі сабағымызда қолжетімді оқу мақсаттары өз ойларыңызды, идеяларыңызды, тәжірибелеріңізді жүзеге асыруды үйрену. Жалпылай және әртүрлі тақырыпқа бағытталған ұзақ мәтіндегі белгілі бір мәліметті түсіну. Жалпы және оқу тақырыптары аясында мәтін құрап жаза алуды үйрену. Assessment criteria. Students, you should assess yourselves on reading comprehension. It could help on identifying the main idea of a passage, understanding vocabulary in context, making inferences, and identifying the author's purpose. You should read the text British Science Week. There are some questions for you. What is science? What is idea? What is creativity? What is independent projects? Students, you should find out the meanings of these words and then write down in your vocabulary notes. So, students, what is independent project? Independent project is a research-based project that entails exploration based upon a student's particular interest. The independent project includes a works cited page as part of the research paper. Сонымен балалар, independent project дегеніміз тәуелсіз жоба дегенді білдіреді. Independent project is someone's invention, and it is the result of someone's investigation and exploration. Independent project is closely connected with science. When we talk about independent project, we also talk about science because they are closely connected with each other. So, what is science? Science is the study of the nature and the behavior of natural things and the knowledge that we obtain about them. Chemistry, physics, and biology are the main branches of science. Now, students, let's carefully listen to the definition of science.
Welcome back to another installment of biology video talks from Mr. Rocher's class. Today we're going to talk briefly about what is science. So I hope you're all ready to join me and find out what exactly science is. First of all, we're going to be really literal because I like wordplay. So science literally means to know. Alright, so here are 3 statements about science. Science is knowledge gained through experience. So for instance, I like birds a lot, and the first time I went birding, I did not know anything. I had to take a book with me. But over time, I gained knowledge of the birds and was able to identify them by their song and by what they look like without having a field guide with me. So science is knowledge that's gained through experience. Another definition of science is an accumulated body of knowledge of the physical or material world through observation or experimentation. This is probably the definition you're most familiar with. In school, you get a lab from a teacher, you go through and you perform a bunch of experiments and observations, and at the end you come out with a result. So we're going to be doing a lot of this kind of science in class. The last definition of science is facts or principles gained by systematic study. So for instance, things like the law of gravity. So those things are all definitions of science.
There are some new words which are related to the word science. They are observe, science, theory, investigation, scientist, law. Now, students, you should write down them in your vocabulary notes and translate. Experts say that it is very important to be interested in science in our childhood. And that's why there are practical tips for parents to get their kids interested in science. What do scientists usually do? The scientists usually do an experiment, and while doing an experiment, they pour chemical thing into another and mix them and then boil it. Now, students, there is a text in your student books on page 120. And you should read the text British Science Week very carefully and try to understand it in order to do the exercises which were given according to this text. You should work with the new words of the text and write down in your vocabulary notes. In order to correct your pronunciation, repeat after me the new words for several times. Association, aimed, exploration, exhibits, demonstrations, advances, impact, hold, logo, science summit, demo day. Your next task is exercise 1 on page 120 in your student books. The script of the task is read the title of the text. What do you think happens during this week? Students, you should write down your own idea. Your next task is exercise 2 on page 120 in your student books. The script of the task is read the text again and mark the following sentences as true, false, or doesn't say. Now, students, let's do exercise 3 on page 120. The script of the task is match the words in bold in the text to their synonyms. Your next task is exercise 4 on page 120. Would you like to attend these events and why? Students, you should think over and answer the question. This question is given according to the text. Your home assignment is exercise 5 on page 120, and the second task is reading task on page 53 in your workbook. Now, students, you should assess yourselves by taking them out. So, our lesson is over. Have a nice day. Goodbye, students.